Podcast City Network.
Listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to the Everett Lee Show. A shot of entertainment to the head. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the entertainment.
What's happening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Everett Lee Show podcast. I'm Everett Lee. Quick shout out to everyone that follows me on Twitter. You can follow me at the Everett Lore Scored Lee, Facebook.com/Everett Lee. Click that thumbs up, and of course, Podcast City Network, the official sponsor and the home of the Everett Lee Show. I want to thank everyone viewing in tonight on Twitch.tv/Podcast City Network. I'm a little bit hoarse over the weekend because of all the yelling and screaming and excitement that happened with the Podcast City Network 1 year anniversary. And that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for shows and the sponsors of the network. I like to mention that you can find all the content and shows of Podcast City Network over on podcastcity.net. Head over there and check out the wide variety of shows on the network. I'd like to thank City Limits Tap Room in DeLand, Florida, home of Draft Day, and the host of Podcast City Network 1 year anniversary. Be sure to head over to City Limits Tap Room in DeLand, Florida for brew on tap, food menu. The grilled cheese is excellent. Indoor and outdoor sporting, TVs, stage out back, much, much more on the network. City Limits Tap Room in DeLand, Florida. Atlantic Sound Records. Head over to Daytona Beach International Boulevard for Atlantic Sound Records. If you're looking for that vinyl, tape, CD, cassette you may have lost, they may have it. So hit them up on Facebook, Atlantic Sound Records. And our new logo is brought to you by 3 Count Design. Hit them up on Facebook, 3 Count Design. And Ashley will help you get that logo and stuff you need design. And be sure to let them know that you listen to Podcast City Network TV shows. So, therefore, what the hell is that sound? It is like driving me crazy right now. You can hear my guest in the background. 3 Count Design will hook you up with that new logo or something that you need. So hit them up on Facebook. And let's give a shout out to JJ McGuire, true master of wrestling ring music. Be sure to check out Kentucky's Own Wrestling. Hit them up on Facebook and check out the promos, the talent on Kentucky's Own Wrestling. And talk about wrestling tonight. I have on right now video with me. I have my co-host, Mr. David C. Russell, Deathmatch Wrestle Podcast.
Everett Lee, good afternoon, good evening, and hello.
Hello.
And may I introduce the guest, or you want to go ahead?
Well, let me...
I'll let you...
Why don't you both introduce me?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us right there, next to David C. Russell's beautiful mug, he is the promoter and owner of Pro Wrestling After Dark. I want to welcome to the podcast tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chad Mines. Let's give him a round of applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chad Mines is in the building. Everett Lee Show.
What's up, guys? It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome having you coming on tonight, man. Taking time out and hanging with us on this Friday night. It's freaking awesome. It is.
We got snow. That's what we got. A little shitty snow.
We did get snow. I don't know about down there in Florida, though.
Yeah. It's cold. It's cold. You know, when it gets cold down there in Florida, Chad, it's freezing when it's 40 degrees down here. Up there, and where you guys are at in New Jersey, 40 degrees is like a heat wave, I guess, right?
40 degrees. I'd be still wearing this Pro Wrestling After Dark t-shirt outside.
That's a nice T-shirt. I like that, man. I like that.
By the way, I like that T-shirt you're wearing right there, Deathmatch Russell Podcast T-shirt, and I like Chad's shirt too.
Oh, you're talking about this shirt that you sent me? Finally, it took you forever. Just freaking send it to me, man. It took Chad, this guy, David, when he first told me he's going to send me a Deathmatch Russell Podcast T-shirt, I got so excited. And he's like, yeah, I'll send it to you tomorrow. I waited. And I waited. He finally sent it, man, and it was awesome. And I love it. It feels great. But I like that Pro Wrestling After Dark T-shirt, man. Where'd you get that made?
Mine is being mailed out too. You'll have it one of these days.
Oh, nice.
That is great. That is freaking great. Shout out to Phoenix Gate Podcast in the chat right now. What's up? But Friday night, man. This is one hell of a Friday night. It's snowing down there. It's cold up here, or down here. It's snowing up there. And just a great way to enjoy a Friday night and talk with Chad about some wrestling, man. About wrestling. When, at what age did you get into wrestling, Chad?
Well, I can tell you the exact match and the exact time, actually. I was walking into my dad's house. WrestleMania was on. It was Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant.
Yes.
And I caught the big slam. And from that moment on, I was hooked right away.
Oh, one of my favorite WrestleManias right there. One of my favorites. So were you a fan of Hulk Hogan? Were you a Hulkamaniac like I was when I was a kid?
I think I really was.
Yeah, my two biggest ones were Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior. So, that was another big WrestleMania for me as well, Hulk versus Warrior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hulk versus Warrior, WrestleMania 6. That was one hell of a match right there, because you didn't know if Hulk was going to defeat the Warrior, or the Warrior. Well, the Warrior defeated Hogan, and that was one hell of a match there. And with you watching WrestleMania 3 and getting into wrestling and stuff, what other wrestlers did you get into around that time after WrestleMania 3?
Yeah, so old school guys for me were Demolition, Legion of Doom. Those were definitely my top guys.
Right.
Always the top guys for me.
Yeah, those.
So what, Chad? I think I told you Demolition too last time we talked.
Yeah.
It was one of those teams that dominated. And actually, a shout out to JJ McGuire. He actually did his theme song. Did the tag team's theme song for the Demolition. That was pretty cool.
Did he really? Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did. Yeah, that
another underrated tag team for me was the Powers of Pain.
Oh my God.
I don't think they ever got the exposure they deserved.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Powers of Pain. Yeah, that right there. I also liked around WrestleMania 3. Since you were talking about WrestleMania 3 right there, I'd have to say I liked the Hart Foundation. I liked Bret Hart. I liked when they had the Hart Foundation. Bret Hart, Anvil Neidhart, Jim Neidhart. That was a good tag team there.
Good stuff too.
Yeah, that was really good. The chemistry with Neidhart and Bret Hart in the ring was just great. And what about the British Bulldogs, Dynamite Kid and Davey Boy Smith?
Yeah. Oh, one powerful team right there.
Yeah.
They showed their strengths.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I was a fan of the British Bulldog, and I loved how Matilda would go after Mouth and South Jimmy Hart, especially WrestleMania 3 right there.
It was great.
It was great. It was great. It was a great time. I have to say, one of my two favorite matches, since you mentioned WrestleMania 3, would have to be, of course, the main event. You had Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan. And then the Intercontinental title with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Macho Man Randy Savage. Ooh,
yeah.
Two guys right there really knew how to showcase their what they had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely did. They definitely did. I do like a lot of the old school wrestlers. I do. Like Warrior, Hogan, and of course the Undertaker. Were you a fan of Undertaker?
For me, not so much actually. I'm not too big into the Undertaker back then and now.
Oh, really? Really? What is it about him?
I don't know. Just he was a guy that I just never connected with, and I didn't have personal chemistry. Like, just the appeal wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. What'd you think about when Undertaker defeated Hulk Hogan at Survivor Series to win his first WWE Championship, man?
Yeah, pretty cool. Nothing beats Undertaker versus Undertaker, though.
Oh, yeah. That, I'd have to say, to me, that was one of, I watched that. I pulled it up on the WWE Network and happened to watch it. And the crowd was like motionless. They didn't even really respond to anything to that match. That was horrible, I thought. Undertaker versus Undertaker. One of the worst gimmicks, I'd have to say right there. Fighting yourself there in the ring.
Yeah. David told me your all-time favorite wrestler, though.
What's that?
Fake Razor Ramon.
Fake. Fake Razor Ramon. Hey, yo, Chico. Yeah. Well, he didn't tell you this either. I was a fan of the fake Diesel too.
Oh, were you really, huh?
Yeah. Who became Isaac Yankem, DDS, and Kane? To you, since we're talking about gimmicks and characters, what would have to be your favorite gimmick or character?
Duke the Dumpster Drosy.
Oh, really? Really? No way.
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
Everyday man, the garbage man.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about Repo Man?
Oh, Repo Man, there's another good one. I loved all that stuff. I really did.
Yeah.
The Doinks, yeah.
Doinks,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Doink the clown, man. The Doinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the four.
And don't forget the Dinks.
Yes, the Dinks. The Doinks and Dinks.
Well,
Yeah.
there were so many like fake doinks and like the real one, and then there are so many of them that tried to. Or was that the Patriot that also there was another guy who really the real one and then the fake one that we know in Jersey, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the
Zero,
Patriot.
Yeah, he has multiple gimmicks too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, what would be the worst gimmick you've ever seen? What would be the worst gimmick?
I don't know. The Goon was pretty dumb. Remember the Goon, the hockey player?
Yeah.
The oddities.
Then there was the baseball player, Abe Knuckleball.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Goon.
Yeah, the Goon. I remember the Goon, man. I'd have to say later on when they relaunched ECW. Remember when they relaunched it on Sci-Fi? I'd have to say the ECW Zombie was really bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was horrible.
That was a bad one.
That was really horrible. Well, growing up, liking the old school wrestling, which I liked, WWE. Were you into WCW? Did you get into?
I was, yeah. So I was a big wrestling fan of all different types of companies. NWA was the biggest when they would have the Clash of the Champions all the time.
Yes.
I love that stuff. And when it transitioned to WCW, same thing. The Monday Night Wars.
Monday Night Wars, Starrcade.
Yeah. Stayed loyal until the Attitude Era was over. And that's when I dropped out for a little while.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'd say a lot of people did after WCW went under there. And then they got bought out by Vince. Then after the Attitude Era was over, pretty much a lot of people actually just quit watching it for a while. And then there's some people that actually came back and they're still watching it now. I dropped out of watching it there for a while from I think like 90 till about 95. I missed that stuff in there, a lot of the stuff. I did keep up with it here and there because I had friends But when the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars, I was watching it every night. I'd sit there watch first hour WCW, then I'd jump over at 9, watch Raw, watch that, and then have WCW taped, and then end up going back watching the last 2 hours that I missed, or in between commercials, like everyone flipping through, going back and forth, man. You know, it was a really good time for that. It definitely was. And one thing that thereafter, after a while there, I did like drop out watching wrestling again from, I think it was 2007 until 2013. Then I got back into it again from 2013 on to now, and I love it. Of course, you know, with the network, WWE Network, going back, watching some great, you know, stuff. Especially, I love the stuff that CM Punk did. I thought it was fantastic. Great mic. I mean, he was great on the mic, man. I mean, he cut a damn promo and stuff. And it's just fantastic. It is.
And in fast forward to now, look at it now. NXT is where it's at. You know, I mean, my God, 205 Live. You know, those guys are just kicking ass. You know. And the UK stuff they got branded now, you know, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But now we backtrack and go back to the indies now. And we're into the indies. Me and Chad know about the indies, and you know, and Everett does too, of course. But me and, you know, we follow a lot of promotions that are really like, Game Changer Wrestling is one of those companies that's really taking the ball by storm. Like, what, February 13th, we're going to be in Atlantic City for what the heck's the name of that event, Chad?
I think it's called You Said It Couldn't Be Done.
Yeah. With a deathmatch legend from Japan, from BJW Freedoms. Jun Kasai is going to be there.
That's awesome.
Everett. It really is.
That is cool.
And I'll be there.
You'll be
there. I'll be the first one.
That's awesome. That is. Like you said about the indies, I mean, right now the indies to me is on fire. I mean, there's so much talent out there that's hungry and just wants to showcase their body of work, and it's a really good time to be a really good, you know, to be a wrestling fan.
Let me jump right into this. Actually, Chad's had some of the guys who were just in a lot of the elite. Am I right, Chad? You've had a couple.
Yeah, the big convention. We had the whole Bull Club, Goldberg, Sting.
Yeah,
I think it was like almost 60 stars total.
Yeah,
a huge weekend. That was our first convention we ever did.
Oh, nice. Tell me about that. I like to hear about that.
Yeah, so it was called Boardwalk Beatdown because, again, you know, like GCW's having their show in Atlantic City. Atlantic City is something that's very important to me, and rebuilding Atlantic City Pro Wrestling is something that I've wanted to do for years. And I teamed up with a hotel called the Claridge, who was no longer a casino. And, you know, we took up the whole ballroom space. We took up the theater, and it was a full 2-day experience. The first day was a dinner event. We could eat with the wrestlers and talk to them and tell stories. The second day we had everything. Yeah, we had everything from a Val Venus Cannabis Summit. We had, what the hell is the guy's name? John Cena was not there. So we had side shows. We had the main Bullet Club and Goldberg and Sting in a convention room, and
a lot of local talent too, of course.
Yeah, tons of local talent, and then we capped it off with a show at night in the theater, which was sold out, which was pretty exciting.
Nice, that's nice. So, you had the Bullet Club there. And who else did you have? I heard Goldberg, Sting, and who else?
Goldberg, Sting, Summer Rae, Emma. Pretty much, you name a lot of them, and they were there. You know, it was a pretty big deal.
Nice. And a lot of the talent that you had there. Was there anyone that you haven't met that you got to meet that was there?
You know what? I was so busy that I was stuck in the Goldberg and Sting room because that line went all day long. So I was actually I didn't even get to really enjoy my own convention.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it happens. You know.
Jeez, that's crazy. That is. That's definitely crazy.
Yeah, the Bull Club, we actually had to turn people away because we went over our time limit. So,
Oh, really?
That was pretty exciting.
Who did you have that was there part of the Bullet Club?
So we had the Bucks, we had Cody, we had Brandy, we had the Samoans, we had Chase Owens, we had Hangman Page, and Marty.
No way. That
So pretty much all the major guys except for Omega.
Oh wow, that's freaking great, man. that is awesome. That is awesome.
Yes, and then after I had them, then they started making a tour. Big Event had them. Legends of the Ring had them. But I had the biggest grouping of the Bull Club, which is pretty exciting to be a launch event too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then they go and do their own thing now. Big shout out to them,
Yeah.
Shout out to Cody and the Bucks,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where you said about how exciting the Indies is going to be. I think that's so. There's good and there's bad about it. Now the guys are going to be more going to be locked up in the contracts. So it's so again we have to cultivate new stars with all the different brands, and that's good. That's going to be a continuous problem. WWE, NXT, All Elite, they're all going to sign up these guys.
I was telling Everett about Joey Janela signing and MJF signing, and ones that we know have really, they deserve it. I mean, they're pretty good rounded talent. We've seen what they have to offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Penelope Ford is my women's champion. So that something's going to happen there, of course.
Yeah. Now, speaking of the Cody and the Young Bucks starting AEW and what they plan on doing and what they want to change the landscape of wrestling. When they did that press release and I watched it, they announced, we're doing this pay-per-view, okay? This is coming out on this date. It's going to be in Las Vegas. It's going to be in this city. Then we're doing an unnamed event in Jacksonville, okay? I get that. And then who's going to be joining the promotion, okay? What gets me about all the AEW hype is that people were like, "Oh, it's WWE's competition. They're doing this. It's gonna be Monday Night Wars 2.0." The way I look at it, Chad, is they've announced two shows they're gonna do, and who's joining the promotion. That's it. I'm sitting back waiting to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I've been talking about that a lot too. Again, the wild card is the investor. If he runs 2-3 shows and he loses money, is he going to be interested in still running wrestling shows? Impact has been bleeding money for years.
Yeah.
WWE is one of the only profitable companies there is in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
So is an investor just going to grow, quickly, like frustrated?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one thing because Cody and the Young Bucks, they have the son of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's getting into this, and he's basically, it's almost like he's like Ted Turner, and he is basically going to bankroll and help these guys get to where they needed to get to. And one question is television. Could you see AEW on television?
I do. I think they're going to have a TV deal, and I think they're going to have it soon. The rumors are TBS, TNT. I think there's a great channel base to be, to start a new company with. We saw how highly successful they were in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they got Fight TV and Roku, of course. All the streaming high sites that are on the market.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, especially like you mentioned, there are TNT, excuse me, and TBS. They had WCW on there, especially like TNT. They had the Monday Night Wars. I mean, back then they had Monday Nitro, and TBS had WCW Thunder. Now, I can see that AEW going to one of those, channels right there, those networks, and being successful. And do you think when a promotion hits television, that actually helps, or does it hurt a promotion?
For me, I guess it depends on the financial aspect of it. Are they paying for the TV? Do they have enough sponsorships? Of course, the exposure is great. Especially if the channel's backing you. If the channel's putting up commercials and all week you're hearing about it, like you used to see, WWE advertised all week on USA and stuff like that. So if they're getting the promotion like that, it's an amazing thing.
Right. So it's about the network and the sponsors backing a promotion and stuff. Now,
and let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I jump in and say
yeah, go ahead.
See like a tour show, like will we see it state by state? Will they come WrestleMania weekend? Well, good question. Will they do some test runs and see if they'll bring it to this, to compete with WrestleMania weekend?
Yeah.
I think the best idea for them is to go slow and steady. Like you just said, test the markets and test what works and doesn't work. And we've seen companies that try and get too big too fast, and then all of a sudden they're gone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's been a lot of wrestling promotions that have, like you mentioned, come up, try to do something, and just go because of the backing and everything and stuff.
But for WrestleMania weekend this year, it's really it's called the Collective. Am I right, Chad?
Mm-hmm.
Explain that to him. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Collective is a grouping. GCW is running it, and it's in the White Eagle Hall in Jersey City. And it starts Thursday night and runs till Saturday night into Sunday. And I think they are up to 11 shows in the one venue throughout the weekend. And already WrestleMania weekend up here in Jersey, there's probably 50 to 60 shows already.
Plus WrestleCon and other stuff.
And plus the conventions, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really, really cool because they're actually, the owner, or they reached out to the promoters, different promoters from Canada, right? Canada to
all over the country.
All over the country.
Right.
Really, man.
That is awesome. I
really
love it.
Is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, me and David were talking about. David was telling me everything going on that's going on up there around WrestleMania weekend for WrestleMania, since it's coming back up there in New York and New Jersey, and so many promotions are basically just gearing up and setting things into motion because a lot of tourists are coming in, and you basically want to have stuff going on because there's something always going on, which I like. I definitely like, and I think it's great and stuff. Do you like David mentioned there? What else do you have planned for WrestleMania weekend when WrestleMania hits up in New York and New Jersey?
So for me, I'm at the Collective all weekend. I have the ring rental there, and just going to help facilitate and make sure things go smooth. And this is a huge investment for them, and I'm pretty close with the owners, and to see them investing into a whole weekend like this, I just want to be a part of, anything I could do to assist them to make that successful. So that's where I'll be from the time we set up shop till the weekend's over.
Nice. And can you tease a little bit on what you have planned for the Collective?
So that's stuff for them to talk about. That's not my. I'm just bringing the ring and just going to help facilitate. And they're putting the cards together. And the Joey Janela has 2 shows. They're sold out already. There's a show called Bloodsport, which is a no rope submission type of show. And there's a whole bunch of other companies that are coming as well. Again, like 11 shows. All weekend.
Wow. And
they have a website and everything like that where you can find out the information and buy tickets. And I know the shows are selling out fast already, though.
Jeez.
I might just have to jump aboard and help you, Chad. I
Yeah,
might.
man. Feels good.
I would like to. You know what I mean? We'll talk after. Business.
Yeah.
That is awesome, man.
No, it's
I would not know where to start if I was up there for WrestleMania weekend. Of course, you get Sunday, you get WrestleMania, but Friday and Saturday, or even during the week, where the heck would I start at? Because so much wrestling, so much good content out there, and good,
Yeah, you remember?
good
Yeah,
stuff,
you
man.
have the NXT, you have the Hall of Fame. There's everything.
there is lots of coffee.
And of course, you got the G1, that right there, Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
You can't forget about that either, man.
That's sold out too, right?
Yeah, it sold
Yeah.
out. Yeah, it definitely did sell out. One thing, talking about the G1 with Ring of Honor, New Japan, I was reading this thing with talking about Cody, Young Bucks, basically all the people that signed with AEW that left like Ring of Honor, New Japan, if that affected their house shows and live events and stuff. And they said it slightly has, but not much. And one thing I look at that is, Ring of Honor, New Japan, they have great talent. Okay? And of course, with Cody and the Young Bucks, they're going to take some of that talent or viewers and fans over to what they're doing. But you still got great rosters on both promotions of great talent there. That's just, tearing it up. I mean, Ring of Honor.
Like I say, I've not been to a Ring of Honor since like 2000, whatever, when Punk retired.
Yeah.
I miss going. I got to get back into it. Chad, you ever been to Ring of Honor?
I have not. No, not one time.
Oh, really? Wow. Me and my nephew and a friend of his and my wife went to Fort Lauderdale. That's the furthest south in Florida that I've ever been in my life. And we went back in it was November 2017. We went to Ring of Honor in Fort Lauderdale. Cody Rhodes was there. Young Bucks was there. Bullet Club was there representing. Then you had Kenny Omega. He was there. I got to see him wrestle live, which was fantastic. I got to see Jay Lethal wrestle live, which was freaking fantastic. Flip Gordon, Marty, just like the Addiction. I got to see all of them. I even got to talk to Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian at the merch table, man. Which it was freaking great. I loved it. I was like, this is the best thing I've ever experienced.
You can talk with them forever and ever. They're great guys to talk to.
Mm-hmm. They are. They're so great. One thing, Chad, that I admire is that the Bullet Club did this angle with the Addiction, and it was great angle, great entertainment. And after everything was said and done, fans was around the barricade. Cody got down and went around, greeted, took pictures, signed autographs all the way around the barricade, and then he exit. That right there, I thought was freaking great of Cody, because he made sure people got autographs and pictures with him before he left. He's a class act, man. He definitely is.
Yeah, definitely.
He definitely is.
When wrestlers come out to the ring, TNA did that in Rahway. They've done the signings, and they like that's a house show. It's pretty cool. The wrestlers sign the book when you're right there and meet all the wrestlers. It's really awesome experience.
Mm-hmm.
When you can see somebody and on the roster and be like, hey, you know what? Thank you for signing my autograph, and you just keep on doing what you guys do, because we grew up watching these guys. Like we say, indies is where a lot of this talent we now see is back in the day, and now it's just huge successes. I mean, speaking of Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels. They're also now with Scorpio Sky. For the they're part of the elite, I believe. So it's great.
Yeah, it is. It is. Now, with you running Pro Wrestling After Dark, how did that come about? How did you get into running a promotion? How did that all start for you? How did that all just pan out for you to start running a promotion, becoming a promoter?
Yeah, so I started vendoring. Guess is where I started out. Vendoring is just where you're bringing the talents around to conventions and meet and greets and stuff like that, autographs and pictures. And then I started building a relationship with WrestlePro, which is North Jersey, and I did some behind the scenes stuff there. After that, I went to go work with SWF. And after SWF, it was time to do my own thing, and that's where Standalone came. And we developed that a little bit. And then we wanted to do something, a little more fresh to the market, a little bit of that old ECW feel, more adult-oriented product. And that's where we just started shooting ideas off on this. And, like the whole basis of the first show was supposed to be like Joey Ryan and Sonny Kiss. And as a major, sexual type of show. And unfortunately, Joey was injured right before the show. So that that part of the launch didn't even happen. But the feedback on the first show was phenomenal. And, the crowd was super into it. And, we had a lot of buzz. And so we have now 4 shows planned already. Which is pretty exciting for a launch company. We have one next Friday is our first show, our next show, and then we're gonna have. Go ahead.
I said it's really going to be an awesome night. It's really good. People are going to be like, wow, because we got Brian. You got Brian Cage coming in. You go ahead, go down the list of people. There's so many guys that are just on the list, Chad. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a huge show. So the show is called The Shit Show, Pro Wrestling After Dark. It's the number 2. So that's why it has a theme, because number 2. It's at the Violent Moose Lodge. We're going to start off with Frankie Picard versus Mr. Grimm versus Blackstrom, which is for the trifecta title. Jimmy Lloyd versus Miranda Elise from the Mae Young Classic in an intergender match. Joey Ryan versus Sonny Kiss, which is from the first show that was rescheduled. Shane Strickland versus Smiley versus Ace Austin versus Ricky Martinez. And there you go. You have 2 guys from MLW, one person from Lucha Underground, and rumored to be a new NXT signee, Scarlett Bordeaux versus Christina Marie, and that's going to be for the Standalone Wrestling Women's Championship. Logan Black versus John Wayne Murdoch in what we're calling a shit show match.
I want to just say I just had John Wayne Murdoch on my podcast.
Yeah,
really great to hear when he's ready for his match at that show this Friday night.
That was great stuff, man. Matt McIntosh versus Serpentico for the first ever Pro Wrestling After Dark Championship. Brian Cage versus Joe Gacy. Wow. Nick Gage versus Brandon Kirk. So we have a full show.
Damn.
Also, the announcer of the night, what's her name?
Melissa Santos.
Melissa Santos.
Who's on Impact and Lucha Underground.
That is freaking awesome. I love it.
And you never know, might have a surprise or 2. We don't know, right, Chad?
Yeah, tickets will be available at the door, or you can get them at bethetrifecta.com.
Nice.
And we'll also have this food on sale, $20.
Nice. I got the poster up. Excuse me. I got the poster up right there. Pro Wrestling After Dark 2, The Shit Show. Friday, February 8th, 2019 at 434 Vineland Moose Lounge. Yeah.
Lounge. Just get there.
Like Chad said, doors open at 6 p.m. Bell times at 7:30. You got a stacked card right there, man. My hats off to you, man. That's freaking great. I love it. I love the card.
Yeah, the 7:30 bell time is adding an extra half an hour of matches, because I went a little crazy booking. So I needed to, free up some time there.
Nice. Now, being a promoter and working with talent, what kind of relationship do you have with talent when you book talent to come in and say, hey, I got this match, I want you to work this match and stuff? What is the relationship with a promoter and talent? How is that for you?
Yeah, so there's so many levels to that. You have somebody who you've dealt with many times, and you have somebody who you're trying to book for the first time, and you don't know how it's going to go, and you're developing that relationship. I've been pretty lucky so far. I like to make sure my people are, paid when they come in the door,
Right.
when they sometimes they're prepaid, which is not a very good idea most times. But again, it's for me. I like to build that trust. Hey, here's your paying in advance. Show up, do a good job, and you're opening yourself to be burnt by doing that. But again, if that happens, it's not somebody you're going to use again in that situation. But I have people who I have great relationships with, like Brian Cage is a guy who I've known for years now, and I'm going to go out. Him and Melissa are getting married, so we're going to take the trip out there to California to celebrate with them. And I don't have many negative relationships, and there's always conflicts and competition in wrestling, and but things are for the most part quiet for me now in that aspect.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is. And with booking talent and stuff, is there anyone that you have not got to work with that you would love to work with?
Kenny Omega? Yeah,
Nice.
That's a very common request.
Really?
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. I've had Pentagon already, but I would love to have Pentagon and Phoenix together as a tag team. That's on my list of matches I would love to do.
Yeah. Now, has there ever been a case where you coming up with a card for an event and you're like, okay, this is gonna work, okay, yeah, and you're planning it, you're getting everything going? Has there ever been a case where basically at the last minute, because it's known the card can change on the fly, has there ever been where someone couldn't make it because something happened and you're like, damn, and you got to go back and change everything? How frustrating, and how is that like? How is that like, changing stuff on the fly?
Yeah, so that's super stressful. Pro Wrestling After Dark 1 was the perfect example of that. I lost Joey Ryan and Sonny Kiss is the one match, like I said. Joey was injured. Close up to when the show was happening. Miranda Elise versus Jimmy Lloyd was on the first show as well, and she was injured and not cleared. And she's coming from Texas, so
Right.
No flying up to New Jersey to make an appearance or to work or anything like that. And it's like taking a piece of a puzzle. Now it's missing, and you have to figure out how to make it work. And it's definitely one of the most stressful things that you can have happen.
Yeah.
And then you're wondering too. Are we going to disappoint the fans if we bring in a different talent? Are they not going to come now? And a first show, more important than any, you want the people to go home happy so you can build up to the next one.
Yeah. Excellent. Now, when it does come to putting on a show and everything's said and done after the event, the feedback, how has the feedback from fans attending a Pro Wrestling After Dark show, how's that been for you?
I think only one person had one negative thing to say, that a couple of the matches were sloppy, is what one person said. Besides that, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Besides that, it was all 5 stars. The show was great. We love the theme. We love the action, and because this product I want to be fast paced, hard hitting, and
And I'm working alongside Chad. I want to say thank you very much for letting Deathmatch Russell podcast be a part of this year's, show. Actually, I think I'm the only podcast that reached out. If I'm correct. Maybe not. I don't know. There might be other ones.
Maybe not. But you are the one for this show.
I know. Appreciate
it. He is.
But,
that's another great relationship that we have is
yes.
The podcasters and stuff like that. One of the things I always felt is, reaching out to the community of people in wrestling and let's all build each other up,
Absolutely.
Let's get the views up. Let's get the conversations going. Let's co-brand. Let's co-promote. David has been busting his ass, posting about our show.
Oh, yeah.
I see it all day, every day. And, we share all his interviews now. And go ahead.
Chad, I want to say we're going to be a part of your show during intermission. So it's going to be really awesome.
Yeah.
We're going to be fans don't know what we're talking about. We're going to be go ahead, Everett.
Yeah. We're definitely going to be part of the show there. On February 8th, we're going to be live streaming right here on Twitch right here. And we're definitely going to, we're going to promote, and we're basically going to let people know what's going on. And Podcast City Network has one of their shows at this event. Me and David did this last time, and
Chad,
the views on that video. The video was probably about about 15 minutes. That 15 minutes, a lot of people just tuned in and even watched after it was done and over with. The views just started going up because they wanted to see what was going on. And I think it's great, and I love it, man. I definitely love it. And having Podcast City Network and David C. Russell there, Deathmatch Russell podcast, coming in and just doing something for intermission, I want to thank you for letting us be a part of Pro Wrestling After Dark, man, and helping get word out to people to check out the promotion and everything that you do for wrestling and the wrestling community.
I appreciate that, and definitely look forward to having you guys there and building more in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely looking forward to it. My camera just froze up. I told you, David, something was going to happen tonight.
Technical difficulties as always.
I still see it nice and clear.
Yeah, because I got two cameras going. I got a camera where you could see me, and I have another camera for the viewers viewing in tonight to see me. That took a shit. It basically took a shit. So basically, I'm gonna keep the rest of the show. I'm gonna keep a camera on you guys. Because I got you screenshotted. But excuse me. But this is what happens when you let your mom let a 1-year-old run all over the house and decide to imitate what daddy's doing right here on the computer, and happens to sit down and kicks the computer a couple times and basically almost crashes it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's the shit show that I walked into tonight.
Yeah, I lived that life too.
Coming right home, man, I walked in that fucking shit, man. I was like, what the hell's going on? The PlayStation's on. The computer's froze. I tried to restart it. I was telling David, I had to call he was like a brother to me. I had to call him up. I'm like, dude, my freaking computer is booting and it's doing a boot loop. It's booting, shutting off, booting, shutting off. I'm like, what the fuck? I was on the ground here, computer half open, taking stuff out, putting stuff back in. He's like, do this, do that, do this. I was on the phone with him for almost 2 hours. And basically, I was going to be like, David, we're going to do audio tonight, because I was going to pull out the laptop for backup, man. I was almost, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to get this thing done and everything's set up. And it all worked out. But you know what? Grandmothers let our kids run crazy, because it's their only freedom. Because when mommy and daddy come home, that's when we buckle down on that.
All the rules. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, Chad? David don't have a family. You have a family. You have a family.
The little Davids are coming.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Oh no. No.
There's gonna be a whole clan of them coming.
Yeah. Whole little David Deathmatch Russell. Deathmatch Russell's just running around there.
Chad has two babies.
Two babies. Yep.
Yeah.
One is still at work. The 1-year-old is still at work at 10 o'clock at night, and the 9-year-old is here on the couch just hanging out.
Played Fortnite.
That is awesome. I have a 1-year-old daughter. So the other day while I was sitting there working on stuff, getting stuff uploaded from the Podcasting Network, 1 year anniversary that we did this past weekend, freaking she kept running over like, daddy. For some reason, I guess because my wife lets her watch Papa Pig, that cartoon. I don't know if you're familiar with that. She likes to call me Pappy. She, Pappy starts pulling on me like, what is it? And she basically grabs my hand, pulls me around, and just wants my attention.
Yeah,
and
but you never know what she's gonna do, Everett. You know
no,
what? Like
no. David can speak, Chad. You know how kids basically
Go ahead, tell her what you did one time. We were on talking to each other during the podcast. We were just talking on our phone. We were having a video chat.
Yeah. Check this out. Okay, what happened was I was talking to David. Okay, while I was talking to David, she grabbed her chair, her little pink chair, and she pulls it over, sets it on top of the coffee table, climbs up and sits down and turns it around to watch TV. I'm sitting there talking to David. I look over and I'm like, what the? And all of a sudden, I'm like, get down from there. I pulled her down, man, and she basically kept trying to do it, man. I was like, nope, you can't do it.
Be a little Mick Foley.
Yeah, little Mick Foley. Now, you said you have two kids. How do they feel about their father being a wrestling promoter? How do they feel about that? About you doing what you do?
The 1-year-old has no clue,
Okay.
and the 9-year-old loves it and loves to get in the ring and wants to be involved in the story and everything like that as well. So he has a blast with it. He's actually going to be. He was on the first show, and he'll actually be possibly. He'll possibly be in the next show as well.
Nice.
But you have to buy a ticket. You have to buy a ticket and be there to see.
Yeah, you gotta be there. Oh, talking about we gotta mention the what do we got? A special selfie thing also going on too. A show. Isn't there a show going on too, Chad?
So just like Dean Ambrose used to have a segment, we're going to do a segment called the Selfie Shot with Steve Scott, and two amazing up and coming talents, Dalton and John Marzano, are going to be featured on the first show.
Nice.
The dicks of the business.
That's awesome. That is.
Dicks. All right, Chad.
Now,
but actually, wait a minute. He's been challenging. They've been calling you out, haven't they?
They have been, and again, you're gonna see in the ring that night what happens, and they're gonna pay for calling us out.
I know.
ooh.
I don't like that Rob Fury guy, but we do agree. We do agree we don't like those two guys, so we have something in common there.
Yeah.
That
They
is-
were gonna shave. They were gonna shave their heads, do a haircut. Chow. This is crazy. It's gonna be. They called.
Yeah, not much haircutting you could do here.
I know. John maybe needs to go to the barber, but
yeah,
that's
that's awesome. That is. Now, How would you feel since you mentioned your son was involved in stuff? How would you feel later on if he came to you and said, "I want to get into wrestling. I want to be a wrestler"? How would you feel? What's your thoughts on that?
School first.
For me, if he followed up with his education and he did that at the same time, I would have no issue with it at all. But we know how unstable wrestling is, and what the odds are of actually making it, and being successful, and so in a way, of course, I would support, but he has to have a backup plan as well.
Yes. One thing about backup plans I would have to say is that Xavier Woods from the New Day, he, during his time being a wrestler, or what he's doing now and stuff, he had a backup plan and got a PhD. So one day when he steps away from the ring or whatever happens, he has something to back him up. I think that's really smart. I do. I think it's really smart to have a backup plan, because a lot of wrestlers don't have that, and a lot of them do, and I think it's really smart to have a backup plan just in case something happens.
That's like me. It's like me. You know what? Podcasting. I want to be on. I want to be in the studio. I want to be or commentating. Like the goals of what we want to do, right, Everett? Like behind the scenes, a microphone.
Yeah.
And interviewing.
Yeah. I mean, it's great to have that backup plan, because you always fall back on it, and I like that, man. I definitely do like that. I definitely do. Now,
Me too.
But our hobby is professional wrestling. Our hobby really is. That's what we live on. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for wrestling, where would we be, right? To our weekend away,
Yeah. I love Derek and my voice. I'm like, I hate the condition of my voice though, but I told David, I was like, yeah, the show must go on tonight, and he's like, no way, you're still doing it. I was like, hell yeah, I am. If I can't talk, I will not podcast, but once I have this voice, I am going to use it. Nothing's going to keep me down, man. Nothing is going to keep me down, brother. I'll tell you, I definitely will. Now, right before we end up closing out the podcast, David, is there anything else you want to add?
Add, is in advertisements?
Just anything else you want to ask Chad before we close out?
Oh, no, we're all Chad.
I already covered the advertisements for tonight, man.
We'll make a plug. I think David is sponsored by Collar and Elbow. Save 10% if you use code. What is it?
Podcast.
There we go.
Yeah. No, just we're looking forward. Me and Chad and Everett are looking forward to working with you in a couple of days. It's time's coming.
We are. And, I'm looking forward to it. Chad, I've been running ever since Saturday. I've been running, doing podcasts. I've been editing, trying to get content out there, basically getting everyone on the network, all their shows out there, and doing everything. And then David's like, dude, we got a show we got to do on Friday with Chad. I was like, okay. And then next week we got to do the go live with the intermission stuff. I'm like, all right, man. All right. I have really not slept that much in the last almost week now.
Wow. Who needs it?
It has. You know what I'm talking about, right, man? It's like running a network, okay, creating content, getting content out there, being a fan, being dad. It's full-time job, man. Everything is, and you never really rest,
Having a house guest too.
Yeah, JJ. Yeah, that was, I loved it, man. JJ, really good house guest. I couldn't ask for any more,
He helped him out with a promo at the Hogan, at the Viper, Viper at Hogan's Beach House.
Yeah, that was great. I was a cameraman. I was sitting there, just being his cameraman. We went to Hogan's Beach Shop in Orlando. I finally got to go there, and I was the cameraman, and it was great. You know, just going in there, seeing. I did not know how much merchandise Hulk Hogan has. I figured some T-shirts here and there, but once you walk into something like that, Chad, you're like, holy shit, this guy has some stuff. He even had in a case up front. I hate to mark out here, but freaking Hulk Hogan had the championship belt that he wore back. I remember when I was a kid when he was World Heavyweight Champion. He had 2 of them. He even had the belt signed in a case, the one at the night at Madison Square Garden where he beat the freaking Iron Sheik and won his first championship. Dude.
I'm going to have to check that out sometime.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you're gonna definitely. You come down to Orlando, you definitely have to go to that. You definitely have to go to that. Before we close here, the next 2 minutes, is there anything else that you'd like to plug and mention, Chad, to the viewers and the listeners?
Yeah, most important, next Friday, February 8th, Pro Wrestling After Dark 2, The Shit Show, Vineland, New Jersey. Get your tickets at BeTheTrifecta.com.
That's right there. Pro Wrestling After Dark 2, The Shit Show. Just like Chad mentioned right there. And that's going to be one hell of an event. The card is freaking great, man. I love it. I love what you have on the card. And it's just great. The talent, I am looking forward to seeing and hearing and just being a part of being the intermission with Mr. David C. Russell.
I'm sure he's going to do a great job.
We're going to have we're going to get the fans involved too. We're going to get the fans involved with this.
Awesome.
Yeah, we need to. That's the main goal too, to have the fans come talk on the mic and say what's going on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's
now,
beautiful.
When I walk away from tonight after viewing or listening to this podcast, where can I find more Pro Wrestling After Dark at on social media?
So, Facebook.com/Pro Wrestling After Dark. Same thing for Twitter and Instagram. Standalone Wrestling and SWF is the other 2 brands. Same thing. They're all over every social media. We're everywhere.
Nice. Anything else you want to add, David, before we close out?
Just like he said, all the social media, it's already posted out there on the internet. I have it out there too as well for everybody to check it out on the links and share, and retweet, and go and check it out, fans. You know, it's going to be one hell of a weekend. You know, one hell of a show Friday night in Vineland, New Jersey at the Moose Lodge. So if you're not there, fans, just stay tuned and check out the interviews live on Twitch and see what's going to happen with Deathmatch Russell Podcast and Chad Mine's interaction at the show. So we'll see what happens with fans, and Lee as well, being the host from his home in Orlando, Florida.
Awesome.
I want to say thank you, Chad. I want to say thank you for being on tonight. And
thank you for being on tonight.
Thank you
for taking time out. Thank you so much. One last thing I'm going to add before we close out, that I talked to my partner in crime, Mr. Chris Carnage. Be sure to check out a new episode of Final Score coming this week on podcastcity.net. You can hit up Podcast City Network on Facebook, Podcast City Network, and on Twitter at Podcast City Net. More Everett Lee. You check me out on Facebook, The Everett Lee Show, and of course on Twitter at The Everett Lee. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen, for this podcast.
A wrap.
That's a wrap. That's right. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me tonight on this podcast of The Everett Lee Show. Be sure to check out Everett Lee Show next week for a new exciting podcast. Everett Lee signing off. Have a good night, a good weekend. We'll see you next week. Peace.